The Nasarawa State Police Command says it has apprehended one of the fleeing Boko Haram suspects, Hassan, after the Kuje attack on the Kuje Maximum Custodial Center by the Islamic State in West African province. The Police Public Relations Officer of Nasarawa State Command, DSP Rahman Nansel, made this known in a statement saying that the fleeing Boko Haram suspect was recaptured by operatives of the State Police Command in Kefi. The police spokesperson reiterates the command's effort to continuously protect its citizens. Well, we're now being joined by the man who has been said to be the sole individual who has been responsible for securing the release of the victims. Tukur Mamu is in Kaduna, and of course he is a Kaduna-based publisher. Thank you so much for being here tonight on the program. And of course, a good place to start this conversation. We are elated, especially looking at the family members of the 7 that were released today. But can you talk to us about the conditions of those who were released? Have they now been reunited with their family members, or are they still in hospital?
Okay, I think we give every glory to God Almighty for the development of today. It is yet another milestone, that shows the power of negotiation and dialogue. And this is what we have been emphasizing all this while. I think a lot needs to be done by relevant authorities, to ensure that this thing is done as soon as possible. Their condition is really very bad, mentally, psychologically, and even health-wise. And that is why I even advise even the military authorities to allow them as soon as possible, to have access to medical attention, which they graciously accepted and handed them over to me. By now, all of them have been reunited with their families, I can assure Nigerians. And I think this is a very positive development for the country. And with this level of engagement, I believe if government will explore the same measure, I can assure you this is something that can be done within 1 or 2 days, and it will be over. We have to realize that we still have a lot of innocent victims that are there, in the forest. They have been subjected to, all kinds of sufferings. As you can see them, most of them are in their need of medical attention. So I think for the sanctity of human lives, I think it is now high time for the authorities to be convinced that if, for example, an individual can negotiate his way to do, for example, what many others could not do over 3 months now, I think with the power of government, with the power at their disposal, this is something that can be done as soon as possible. So their condition is really very bad, and one can only imagine, the situation of those that are in the forest by now.
Right, but we need you to confirm to us, because the media reports say 7 people were released. Some others are saying 10 people. We need a confirmation as to how many people were released and how many are left in, the hands of their captors. Can you confirm the figures to us right now before we move along?
Okay. Prior to today's development and after the release of the initial 11, we have 51 of them that are there in captivity. And with the development of today, I have succeeded in negotiating the release of 7 of them. 7, out of the 51 are now in their homes. I can confirm to you.
So that means we still have about 46 of them in the hands of the captors. And one wonders, why are we seeing the release of these victims in batches? And some people have been able to paint a picture and really found a nexus between the jailbreak in Abuja, talking about the Kuje medium security facility. Can you talk to us about, what you have to say concerning some who have said maybe some of those Boko Haram members, about 64 of them, who were able to escape from that Kuje facility, the connection between that release from the prison and this release? Is there any connection? If there is, let us know what it is.
No, sincerely, there is so much connection to it, and this is something I have shared with the authorities, especially the security agencies, even prior to this development, because prior to the attack in Kuje, they have issued their own demand to the federal government, regarding the mediation and regarding how we can secure the other victims of the train attack, and part of what part of their demand is the release of their comrades. Initially, they started with 51. I single-handedly, mediated to scale down that number to only 10 of them, and out of that 10 of them, I even convinced them to send the names. I got the names of the 10 they want government to release. I forwarded to all the relevant authorities, including the leadership of the National Assembly, the CDS, the Director General at DSS. All of them I forwarded to them. And my understanding is that, for example, if you are at the receiving end of every negotiation, because as it is now, we are at the receiving end, they have people that are being held there. And as a responsible government, we should not leave anything unturned to make sure that these innocent victims are released. So, for example, they gave us time, to discuss how these 11 captives will be released. And honestly, there is virtually no words from the government. Since I forwarded that list through the relevant authorities and the committee, I have not heard anything from them, and virtually there is even nothing for me to tell them. And they were provoked. They even sent an audio to me directly that since government is not willing to listen to them, they have all what it takes to ensure that, they get the release of their comrades. And after about 1 week or so, this attack happens. So I can assure you, the way the DSS confirmed that they have shared intelligence about this attack, this is known even before this attack. But virtually little or nothing was known to prevent the attack. And this is the unfortunate situation we're having in Nigeria today, that even made the president to acknowledge that there is failure of intelligence. But I want to tell Nigerians that it is not only enough for the president to say there is failure in intelligence system. You have to make those that are responsible in gathering intelligence or protecting the country of the nation, to really take responsibility, because something has to be done. If a jailbreak of this magnitude will happen, in a city like Abuja, and for us to only, end with condemning, the act or saying that there is a failure of intelligence without taking any action on those that are responsible, especially at the highest official level of government, I think we have not seen end to this. I will expect in a decent society, most of the security chiefs resigning by now, even without the president, sacking them. But this is what we have in this country. And I think a lot needs to be done for us to see an end to this kind of preventable attacks. This is really preventable, and it will have been avoided.
Right, very preventive and can be avoided. But at the end of the day, with the president's strong statements that he released, especially on social media after the attack on that medium facility in Kuje, one would have thought some heads would have rolled by now. He did, have heads of security agencies at the villa yesterday. We thought maybe some people should have lost your job. So that way, maybe if it's the fact that we need fresh hands, maybe that could have happened, but that didn't happen. But quickly right now, you have actually talked about a lot about the failure of intelligence. I do know that some time ago, you had written, you said you wanted to step aside as being the negotiator in charge of those who are still being held captive. And you said the government was not being responsible. So quickly, as we wrap up this conversation, what would you like to see, especially from the part of the government, to secure the release of others who are still being held, all 46 of them, and other people who were, abducted from different villages around Kaduna State?
Yeah. What I want to emphasize is that the sacrifice we are making is not our responsibility. We are only making this kind of sacrifice as responsible citizens, as our own contribution to our nation. And unfortunately, this thing is not being acknowledged even by the highest level of government. And I can tell you that a lot needs to be done by government to ensure that this thing is brought to an end as soon as possible. So as long as government did not realize the magnitude of the crisis we have at hand, as long as government did not appreciate, for example, the effort of few people that are even sacrificing their lives to ensure that this thing comes to an end, by giving them all the necessary support to do what needs to be done. I think so much will happen, and it will be to the detriment of the helpless citizens, because as it is now, it is the common people, it is the helpless citizens that are suffering for all these lapses. And I can assure you that in the situation whereby, for example, because of a relationship between a president or somebody in government, that, for example, his excesses will be overlooked or his failure will be overlooked, this is the unfortunate development we have in this country. I think notwithstanding the relationship any appointee, have with the president, notwithstanding the relationship of anybody with anybody in the highest level of government, once you have failed in your own basic responsibilities, I think the president or the government is supposed to take immediate action in the interest of the people. This is the life of the people we are talking. This is the dignity of a country, because I think it doesn't speak well for even a nation like Nigeria, for example, to be publicized in a manner that happened recently. For example, in a city like Abuja, for terrorists to go there and then secure the release of many of their comrades. So, and I also want to advise the government that in view of their own predicament, because for now, we have an issue at hand. Government did not have proper intelligence to even dictate or stop attacks. Then if you have this situation, fighting a terrorist group, like the ones we have, you have to apply a stick and carrot approach in dealing with most of these issues. Where you need to use military force, it is allowed. You can use military force. But in a situation where military force will not yield the desired result, I think it will just be a waste of national resources, like we are seeing today. Because as it is now, the budget is very huge. And the president approves virtually everything the security agencies bring because of to ensure security in the country. But what do we have in return? There is no commensurate result. If you look at the billions, in budgetary allocation, and then compared to the performance of the security agencies, you can confirm that virtually they are not doing what they're supposed to do. And definitely somebody must be held responsible. They have to take full responsibility of what they are doing. Our borders, look at the kind of sophisticated weapons these terrorists are using. Why are they getting the supply? Who is supplying them? Why is it that, where is the money coming from? So somebody somewhere is not doing his work. And definitely in as much as government will not take action against this kind of appointees, or for example, somebody will be rewarded even after woeful performance, or somebody will be rewarded with even appointment after woeful performance, I think it doesn't encourage good governance. It doesn't encourage people to give in their best for the interest of their nation.
Absolutely.
But sadly, this is the situation we have in this country.
Well, Mr. Mamu Tukur, before we let you go, can you confirm to us if you've been, in talks with the terrorists, especially after that audacious attack on that medium facility here in the nation's capital? Have they contacted you since then? And if the answer is yes, what are their new demands? Because there are new reports now that says that maybe they might be shifting the goalpost.
No, honestly, since that time and with the kind of lackluster attitude of the government, honestly, I have resolved not to participate in anything that has to do with their negotiation again. Even today's development, I was under serious pressure by some of the family members. I was under intense pressure because this kind of sacrifice, this kind of voluntary service, especially in a situation whereby you have little or no support completely from the government, if you decide to go ahead with this, you will even be in danger. And that is why I even alarmed the nation that my life is even being threatened. So for that reason, no matter how I want to contribute in a situation whereby you are virtually helpless with little or no support or appreciation completely from the government, certainly I cannot continue. And I can assure you this will be my last, effort, in as much as government did not change their attitude, in seeing this thing to an end. Because no matter what we do, government is mighty. Government is the only authority, that has, the power to decide, to do and undo, and to see that this thing is brought to logical conclusion. So whatever effort anybody will put, in as much as the support is not there, as we are seeing now, I can tell you the success will be very little. But I think if, for example, the government will reflect based on the success, especially the first one, how we succeeded in securing the 11 victims, and then this current one that I single-handedly organized, I single-handedly discussed, I single-handedly succeed in achieving. Then if I can do it as an ordinary citizen, then you can imagine if the government is really committed, how long will it take it for them to secure the release of these innocent victims? So if something is not done within the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, I think Nigerians need to ask the government. Certainly something needs to be done. Certainly answers, they have to give answers. Because this is just a single individual with no power, with no authority, with no anything. If I can go to the bush, drive for more than 40 kilometers inside the bush, risk my own life for the sake of a nation that doesn't even appreciate, then what kind of a nation is this? So I can assure you, as long as there is this commitment from the government, we will have a lot of Tukur Mamus in this country that will be willing, to sacrifice their lives for the interests of their nation. And I can tell you, as we wrote in that story, this terrorist group, even though they have this misguided ideology, they have this misguided beliefs, they do listen. If you engage them, they listen and they make concessions.
Right. Tukur Mamu, I'm sure that Nigerians really appreciate all of the efforts that you have put in ensuring that, those who have been held captors are actually released. But we need to quickly ask you, what is the role of Sheikh Ahmad Gumi in all of these negotiations, especially as we look forward to the release of the 44 who are still being held by the abductors?
I can tell you the greater success or the credit of all this thing that happens is not even to me, it's to Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. Because whatever I do, I consult him directly. If he gives me his approval and blessing, I will go ahead with it. If he advises me otherwise, I will not do it. So whatever I do as far as this train kidnap issue is concerned, is with the complete blessing of Ahmad Gumi. The first 11 we succeeded in rescuing, he was the one that even arranged the location. He arranged a location that will be favorable for all of us. So he is doing so much behind the scene. But this is not something we will go on air to start saying Sheikh Gumi has done this or Sheikh Gumi has done that. I can tell you this is somebody that has Nigeria in his heart, irrespective of your religion or whatsoever. What he is interested is to see peaceful coexistence in the whole country. He has done so much, and he has gone to the extent of visiting the most notorious forests in the northwest. We have gone together virtually. We have seen all these bandit commanders. We have discussed with them. We have preached to them. If, for example, government had given him the full attention, cooperation and support, I can tell you even this issue of banditry will have been managed by now. But there is no, even for him to see the president, was a huge frustration. So what kind of a country is this? And what kind of progress? This is somebody offering voluntary service. Nobody is paying him. Nobody is paying us. What we are doing is beyond money. Nobody can sacrifice his precious life to go to that kind of place because of money. Nobody. Because if they kill you, what will you do with the money?
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up this conversation, Tukur Mamu, confirm to us, yes or no, was ransom paid for the release of those who got their freedom today, all 7 of them? Was there any money that exchanged hands? Yes or no?
Honestly, I want to emphasize that as far as I'm concerned, that there is no single kobo that was involved, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know from the individual families whether maybe they have made contact with them before this engagement or not. But all that I tried to do after their threat to start slaughtering these victims, I pleaded with them that in the absence of any move from the government, you people should please consider a situation whereby you will give the family members the chance to at least discuss with you so that you will know their real condition. It was based on that I started engaging them. And I convinced them that most of these people in captivity, they have serious health challenges. In fact, life-threatening illnesses. And they too have confirmed to me that most of them, you know, are in terrible condition health-wise. So it was on the basis of this humanitarian angle, you know, I explore and I keep discussing with them. Most of them, I have the audios, and eventually, God knows how we have done, and we succeeded. They said, in fact, initially they said they are even giving me 6. I was even surprised when we went there. They decided to make the number 7.
Thank you so much, Tukur Mamu, of course, for all that you do to ensure that those who are being held are released and, of course, reunited with their families. Thank you so much. And we pray that the rest of them who are still being held, all 44 of them, are released as soon as possible. Tukur Mamu is a Kaduna-based publisher, and, of course, he has been the sole negotiator for the Kaduna-bound train. Of course, they've been in captivity for almost 5 months. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us in the studio.